Now this problem says find the center, foci, and vertices of the ellipse and then graph it. So with this equation here, we're just going to want to put it in that form, x squared or x squared plus something squared over some number plus y plus or minus some number squared over something squared equals 1. So that's what we're going to try to get to here with this problem here. So we're thinking about completing the square. So first off, I'm going to get my x squared, keep my x squared over here, plus my 4x. And then for the second piece here, this is a little more interesting here. So I'm going to pull the 4 out. So I'm going to have a y squared minus 2y. And then that 4, I'm going to move to the other side. So hopefully that's okay for all you guys. If not, let me know. Get a hold of me. Anyways, from this point, now what we're going to do is we're just going to complete the square. So remember what that means. That means I'm going to take half of my b and then square it. Okay, so it's going to be 4 over 2. And then when I square it, it's going to give me 4. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing in here, though. Not with the 4 outside, just with the inside of that. So I'm going to take half of b now, which is 2. It was 8, but I pulled the 4 out, so now it's 2. So that's going to be 2 over 2 and square it, so that's going to be 1. All right, so I need to add a 4. And then this one isn't actually a 1. This is where that 4 on the outside affects it as well. So that also is going to be a plus 1 in here somewhere, about there. And then think about this. I'm going to have to times it by a 4 if I'm talking about the whole equation here. Okay, so what that means, it's going to be this 1 times 4 here, which then actually equals 4. So for this one, I'm adding 4. So this is what I'm going to add to the left side. I'm going to add a 4 and a 4, which is an 8. So for the left side, I'm going to add an 8. So that means for the right side, I also have to add an 8. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. All right, so anyways, so that means on the left side then, I'm going to have that x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus 4 parentheses y squared minus 2y plus 1 equals, now that's not going to be a negative 4 anymore, but that's now going to be a positive 4. So now all I'm going to do is factor these. Now again, since I set them up, they are perfect squares because that's the way we design this. All right, so that's going to be plus 2 squared plus, and then I'm going to have this 4 here. And then this is going to be a y minus 1 squared, and that equals 4. So now remember, we wanted all of this, these quantities squared. Okay, that's what we wanted. But we also wanted this over here to be a 1. Remember, it's plus and then equals 1. So that means to get that 1, we're just going to divide everything by this number over here. All right, so then that's going to give us x plus 2 squared over 4 plus, and then those 4's are going to cancel here, so I'm going to get a y minus 1 squared equals 1. So that's what we want. So there's our equation in its form where we can get all the information we want from, except for the c, of course, but we could find that very easily. And this told us to find the center, foci, or foci, and vertices of the ellipse and then graph this thing. All right, so we do have some information here for us now. So let's kind of get all that information together. So the center is going to be the easy one for us once we get this equation, because what's my x value going to be? If I look at that, what makes it 0? Negative 2. And then I look at this, what makes that 0? 1. So it's really just that simple. So this is going to be -2, 1 for our center. Now we need to find our foci and our vertices. But I'm going to write the vertices next because those are going to be a little easier to do since we have it in this form already. So then the vertices then are going to be, and what I'm looking at here is the furthest distance from the center to the edge. And it's not the 4. Remember, this has to be a 2 squared. So that distance is actually going to be 2. We're going to actually end up graphing this first to actually see those. So if I graph all my points, I could see that somewhat clearly. So let's take a look at that. So we know the center is -2, 1. So that's going to put us here. All right. And then we also know that the furthest distance from the center to the edge is actually going to be 2. So, and then it's under the x squared, so that means we're going to be going horizontally here. So that means it's going to be 2 away, so it's going to be a point here. And then 2 over this way, so it's going to be there. So those are going to be my vertices. And it's 1 the other way. So I'm going to put those in there since I'm kind of filling this in right now. And there's the other one there. So we kind of get a picture of what this is going to look like already. So that's what's nice about it. So now if I just label those points, that's going to be 0, 1, negative. And then this one here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So -4, -1. Okay, so there's those 2 points there. So those are my vertices. So I'm just going to write those in. Now for this first part, now all we're looking for is the foci. Now to find the foci, we need our A and our B, remember that? And we have both of those. That's about 1.73, blah, blah, blah. And that's from the center. So if you look at this, here's our center. Okay, so we're going to go 1.73 over. So it's going to be about there. And then the other one is going to be in the other direction. So that's going to be about there. So they're very close to the actual vertices. So we got to be careful with that. Try to give yourself a little bit of room. Now I'm just going to graph this ellipse. And then make sure when you label everything, you don't use 1.73 blah, blah, blah of some sort. Actually put the square root of 3 in those points. And for those points, those values. So I put all the values in there for you as well. So if you look at those values for the foci, it's going to be -2 minus square root of 3, and that's going to be over here. And then the -2 plus the square root of 3, that's going to bring me closer to 0. So that's going to be over here. So that's kind of how you label those. And when I write those out, that's how I have to write them. So there is all of our information. So it's all of this down here. And the graph.